It says the FBI wants to keep, of course they do. Does the FBI really want? Does the organization want? No. Individuals who call themselves the FBI want to keep fortune in cash, gold, jewels, etc. from Beverly Hills raid. Is it abuse of power?
They're missing a word there. They're missing an adjective. They should say from botched or illegal Beverly Hills raid.
And they should probably say fortunes instead of keep fortune in cash, Anyway. Let's just be a critic of the LA Times writers here. So we've been talking about forfeiture laws. We've been talking about how these people seem to think that they have more rights than everybody else and that type of a thing. The greatest thing that I've read in this article so far is this one paragraph that is 8 words long. And it says simply, possession of cash in any amount is legal. All of these people who represent all of these agencies that call themselves governments need to keep that in mind. So beyond, we already talked about what else they're trying to seize. The FBI has returned the contents of about 75 of over 300 boxes and plans to give back the items found in at least 175 more. They plan to. Doesn't mean they will. It means they plan to. Because there was no evidence of criminality, Rosick said. Federal agents have not determined who owns what and what was stored in many other boxes. Of course, they opened them and emptied them, and they didn't. Oh, man. Some of the updates on this, we've covered here on Free Talk Live. You can go find them over at archives.freetalklive.com. But they certainly did a poor job of cataloging when they were taking stuff out of boxes and which box, what stuff belonged in what box and that type of a thing. I'm very confident that many people are getting screwed out of their valuables.
Wow.
The indictment says U.S. private vaults marketed itself to attract criminals who wanted to store valuables anonymously and keep tax authorities at bay. Gosh,
wow, sounds so
doesn't
familiar.
Doesn't that sound like every American?
Having Vuja Day here, the feeling that nothing like this has ever happened before.
I mean, the humorous part about this is, tax, minimization is legal, right? Like every time you check off a box on your form that, gives you some sort of an exemption, that's tax minimization and it's legal.
Yeah, but it's also really similar to what's happening in the Crypto 6 case because they're trying to allege that it's more suspicious than any average Bitcoin ATM or Bitcoin vending machine out there because they didn't enforce all of the KYC apparently that the FBI wants them to. So they're saying, oh, these people wanted privacy in their business. Well, that equals we need to steal all their
privacy isn't illegal either, guys. It's totally legal to want and attempt to obtain privacy.
Yeah, and that was very manipulative of the prosecution because it each of these vending machines is configured, and it also I'm not even sure if you got a vending machine that was pre-configured already that was used, for instance, you're going to say just because of that configuration or you tweak that configuration for your particular state. And that's the other thing. There's different laws in every state. So, and in different countries, these are not vending machines for one particular location.
Well, at KYC, for those people who don't know, stands for Know Your Customer. This is a set of laws that were put into play by the federal government for people who do financial business that they must do these things, and so everybody refers to it as KYC, Know Your Customer. What it really should be called, of course, is OYG or OTG for Obey the Government or Obey Your Government, because that's really the effect of those laws. These laws prevent people from seeking and obtaining privacy in their transactions. There is no reason that the government needs to know your every transaction that you do ever, where your money comes from, where it goes, none of their frickin' business. None. The article continues. An owner and manager of U.S. private vaults were involved in drug sales, it says, and co-conspirators helped customers convert cash into gold to evade government suspicion. Nothing suspicious about buying some gold with your cash.
Yeah, I'm failing
or exchanging
to see,
some cash for gold.
I'm failing to see why selling an item, selling a valuable item, it would somehow be a crime just because you sold a valuable item.
If I've got $20 in gold and you've got $20 in USD, and I'm like, dude, can I trade you this $20 in gold for your $20 in USD? And you go, sure. And we make that trade. Has anything illegal occurred?
No.
All right, then. Among those enamored in the government's dragnet was
But
Joseph.
what if I wanted my cut? Sorry.
Oh, if you wanted your cut.
Yeah, what if I wanted my cut? What if I had a gun and I wanted my cut?
Well, if you had a gun,
That's another story. That's another
then,
situation.
If neither of us wanted to die, for example, we might comply.
Well, what if I went to a magistrate and asked for a warrant and they told me I could search around the room, but not where the gold was, and I took the gold anyway?
The real question is, do you have a legitimate claim to a cut?
Yeah.
So the real question should be, did you provide any value in the exchange that Chris and I just made in that scenario? Did you do anything to help that exchange in any way, shape, or form? Did you earn your cut is really what I'm asking.
Well, no, but I wanted it.
Well, then you've just stolen part of the transaction. How does that make you feel, Sammy? Are you driving 55 yet? What's going on?
I can't.
You can't?
I can't drive 55.
Me neither.
I just can't help but make bad jokes when Captain's around.
That is what Sammy would say.
I have that effect on people.
Isn't it?
I have that effect on people.
They get Sammy always gets an exception here, doesn't she, for speeding? She just pops her lights on and.
So,
yeah.
Among those ensnared in this dragnet was Joseph Ruiz, who lost his life savings in the raid, $57,000 in cash. An unemployed food service worker who lives near Crenshaw Boulevard and the 10 freeway, Ruiz, age 47, distrusts banks and sees world affairs as deeply unstable.
Why is he investing all of his life savings in FRNs then? He should be investing in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies.
So he decided to keep his money at U.S. private vaults. Now,
here's the thing. Abnormal behavior in and of itself should not be illegal.
Well,
and they're basically saying
who's to define abnormal behavior?
Well, I know, exactly, right? And this is the thing. It's like just because something is abnormal doesn't necessarily mean it's illegal.
Yeah.
And yet they're treating everything that is abnormal as if it is illegal.
Right.
And you end up ensnaring more people that are simply acting differently than you would expect than you do actual criminals.
If people put their money into, I don't know, baseball card collections, right, that are super rare and valuable, right? And then later on in life, they go, you know what, I need some money. I'd like to exchange this for some cash. And they go ahead and they do that. Have they committed any crime? Nope. Is it any business of the government? Nope.
And the humorous thing is that is actually one of the tactics that the super wealthy actually use. I don't know about baseball cards specifically, but certain works of art.
Right. Yeah. Art. Okay. But valuables can be, anything really, right? It's just determined by who thinks it's valuable.
Absolutely.
There are people who their savings account is ammunition.
That's true.
There are people whose savings account is, Beanie Babies, right? Or, other assorted stuffed animals or children's toys that have, increased in value. I don't know. The Beanie Babies are probably worthless these days, but once upon a time, they were the tulips of children's toys. Anyway, Ruiz obtained the money in 2 legal settlements, one for a spinal injury in a car accident and another for chronic housing code violations in his apartment building. So that's where that cash came from was, he got a couple of settlements, and he was like, well, what am I going to do with my cash? I'm going to put it in this private safe deposit box. And then what happened? The government stole it. Hour number 2 of Free Talk Live is next.